That is, as you all know, is the great YouTube. And this is the nonsense we are dealing with. Apparently, the nice little video titled Japan's Most Unhinged Scammer Loses It All. I have no idea what that is supposed to mean, but apparently I'm supposed to be watching it. And apparently I'm supposed to be commenting it, which I really feel dirty at the moment, though. Don't worry about it, I'm just feeling a little bit dirty. But before we get into this, as I said, this is neither the content I watch, nor is it the content I like to make. But money. Money indeed. After this, we're actually going to play some games. Any moment you have, go say. As I said, I kind of, looked up how to do this, and I saw people going, like, pausing every 5 seconds, and I was getting annoyed. But I guess that's the whole point. So, I'll try my best. I mean, everything is an experience. Maybe this is just the kind of shit that I, hopefully will never have to do again. It feels like. It really feels like the sort of... Any shorts yet? I think I tried that feature once and I was like, don't know about it. But yeah, before we start this, I'll give it some informations. I have been able to gather beforehand. The title is rather obviously intended to get you to click the thumbnail as well. That seems rather clickbaity. I will say my first thought was, just going off the thumbnail that you can't see because the video has already started. That's a woman. And I will say, there's a very fine line between what is just normal womanly behavior and scamming people in some cases. So, maybe this is not going to be as bad as I think it will be. Maybe it's just going to be a nice big misunderstanding. Somehow I don't think so. Planet Coaster 2. Yeah, I've seen that. In passing, because I've basically just looked at companies and, well, their tax revenue and other shit in order to prepare myself for some nice interviews. It's not fun. Job hunting has never been fun. Really not. So I'm not really up to date, but I did see that in passing because, seemed interesting. So how am I going to set this up in a way that I can do this? I guess I'm going to light the pipe one last time, and then we're just going to try to get this over. I mean, it's only 12 minutes long, so it's not that long. I just don't really feel good about it. And as you know, given half an opportunity, complaining is what I like to do best. After I'm done, I'm going to have to explain myself again, because I'm going to do something else. That's not really something I would do normally. But well. Can I just, am I in the window? Probably I am. Let's see then. 100 million yen? That's a lot of money. Okay. Wait a second. 23? How much money did I have in my pockets at 23? Yeah, definitely not. That's like what? That's is far over $1 million, isn't it? In didn't you make the math for me? Yes, you did. 4 million USD. Nice. Okay, maybe that is a scam I actually need to get into, because that is apparently rather fortuitous, put it mildly. I was about to make an educated guess that she's probably one of those who suddenly got into money and then spent it all on stupid ideas like, starting a company when she has no idea how to actually do it. But no, apparently she spent it all on host clubs. I've played Yakuza. I know what a host club is. That's a lot of money to spend on host club. Jesus Christ. You could have got some real estate. And probably, made more money, but Jesus. Yeah, and in this case, since she's a woman, and it's not a hostess club, but a host club, this is basically, it's like Stardust in in Yakuza. It's basically what the same concept just for women. I can see why that would be something nice to do once in a while. Yes. But how the fuck do you spend 1.4 million on that? Holy shit. Literally, she could have opened her own fucking host club at this point. Jesus, woman. I mean, to be fair, she is apparently 23. People are stupid at that age. I get it. Jesus Christ. Okay, to be fair, this could actually. I'm now actually interested in A, how did you get that much fucking money? Because there's no way you get that legitimate. And B, how precisely did you justify spending that much on fucking host clubs?
嘘ついてお金をもらってる時点で、お前やっぱ詐欺師と一緒じゃないやってること。そうだよ。
Okay, that was a fucking cringy sound. You know, I'm 27, I'm still stupid. Yes, that's pretty normal. You stay somewhat stupid. That's not that's an expression. But most people will have either some friends or some family who, you know, so should you suddenly find yourself in a situation where you have unlimited amounts of money at your disposal suddenly, can at least give you some advice that is better than to just spend it on hosts.
Imagine you're 18 with no skills, no education, stuck in a dead-end job.
That was me, actually. I was 18. I had said fuck it to school. Moved out of my parents' home. Moved in my own first apartment with my then girlfriend. Had, of course, no education, no training, no nothing. And, well, worked dead-end jobs. Why didn't I end up with that much money?
Someone told you that you needed to make $1 million in a year. Where would you get the money from?
It's a good fucking question.
The answer was obvious. From men, of course.
Okay. Yeah. I get it. I can see where it is going. It's the oldest scam in the world. Even older than the oldest scam that we have acknowledged is the oldest scam, namely prostitution. Trying to make a prediction where this is going. This will involve lonely men. Because those are fucking easy to target. I would absolutely bet my fucking happy little ass on it. I ain't gonna light my pipe. That's how assured I am of my victory.
Mai developed an incredibly effective method for scamming money out of lonely men and released it as a guide to help other women get rich.
What? That is such a woman thing to do. You found the method to make money. And your first decision is to fucking write a guide about it and share it. I bet you she sold that shit, didn't she? She tried making more money of selling her method. Greed. That's truly such a fucking ridiculously woman moment, isn't it? How the fuck did you think that was a good idea, making this popular? Did you never think that mayhaps, you know, someone like the police will show up at your door and go like, hey, listen, as assisting people with committing fraud, it's, yeah, 23, I forgot. She's stupid, yes, but this is, see, that's why you need friends. To go like, are you sure this is actually, I have a better question, and that is a question that comes to me immediately because, you know, I'm a businessman. That's a lot of money she's showing there. How about taxes? Because I'm pretty sure money, no matter where it comes from, is first and foremost income. Oh, please, dear God, let me see that this bitch is gonna get in trouble for that.
2. Her tactics spread like wildfire on social media.
Can fucking imagine. If someone told you, look, here's a guide. I'll just tell you how to fucking do it, and you get money for doing nothing.
The cops got wind of it. Mai's magic system is genius, and I'm gonna go through all of it, but it is unethical.
Measures against this video are unethical and illegal. The purpose of this video is to arm you with the knowledge to protect yourself from these scams. That's nice. I will say this, however. Most of these scams that women have come up with over the ages to get money from men, you just have to get kind of wise of it, or you have to have some people, as I said, around you who's going like, it's not a good situation, is it? Yeah, actually, I know. If she actually, then again, not really strategy, not really. Because spending on your own free time, for example, if I buy myself a toaster, that is not a business expense. That's not something I can, apply to my taxes. But if you get money in, even if I get money in from, let's say from you, let's say you send me a quid, that is technically speaking money I got, and that is technically speaking an income that needs to be taxed. It's annoying, but that's how it works.
Ethical and illegal. That's why I've rebranded it to the scammer system. Pay attention so you don't become a victim, and obviously, do not use it.
Okay.
All right, gang, listen up. The first thing you have to do is select your target.
Mhm.
Not every guy is a good target. So
Yeah, I'd imagine I would not be a good target, because I don't have any fucking money.
if you don't choose the right ones, you're going to waste a lot of time. Broke losers are out.
I'll take that personally, if you know.
You got to find a guy who's good at making money, but bad at holding on to it.
Surprisingly enough, most people that actually had to work for their money are not actually that bad with their money. However, what you consider spending your money on is sadly, people have very different of opinion there.
That's exactly right.
The perfect mark is a guy who's lonely, isolated, and has no hobbies. A guy who has no meaning in life, who's not fulfilled.
I mean, obviously, yeah. Basically the kind of person who just sleeps, eats, works, and there's nothing else. No hobbies that would eat a lot of money. Some people like using a yacht, for example. That costs a lot of money to just get, maintain, and do things with. That's not good, because that also means he's fulfilled. Fulfilled people are not desperate for attention. And if they're not desperate for attention, you're gonna have a fucking hard time getting into their minds, won't you?
Ideally, he has nobody who relies on him and no interactions with.
That is actually the most important point. Lonely, not only just in the sense that he has no partner or anything, lonely in the sense that he has nobody to rely upon and nobody who checks up on him, because that, obviously, makes him far more vulnerable. If you can get into a position where your input into somebody's thought process is the most important, you basically won. Such a woman tactic, isn't it? Ugh. See, people always wonder why I'm somewhat harsh in my critiquing of the fairer gender. Do you need more? Do I need to spell it out more? It's one of those sad situations.
Women.
だけどうちは生きる希望がない。毎日仕事して帰って寝て毎日帰って仕事して寝てなんで生きてるんだろう。
Well, thanks for denying all of the poor people who are just trying to get through life. It's actually a rising problem, isn't it? That a lot of people actually feel like that. That, there's no purpose in life. Yep, life doesn't give you purpose, you create purpose. Well, it's quite literally a woman tactic. I mean, the whole idea, of that this would make this segment a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but it is a very specifically womanly tactic to get social standing. Not by their own merit, but through the man they're with. And that social standing usually also includes money. Yeah, it is a very, very...
The reason Mai knows this is the best type of man to target is because she used to work in what the Japanese call the night industry.
She was a hostess herself. Now that is of course a group of women that are very specifically, with some experience, very good at finding the right target. After all, a lot of the money these nice little hostesses make is mostly coming from, and not just working at the club, let's just say. It's more the gifts and other nonsense they get outside their official capacity. Well, to be fair, many are to blame as well for playing along with this, but well.
If you know what I'm saying. One evening, she desperately texted every guy on her contact list asking for money, and the only...
That's genius. You just take everyone you know, every one of the people that visited your host club that you have the exchange contact with, just send them, give me money. My first question when I get such a message would be, what are you offering? It's a fair question. You don't get money for doing nothing. Also, actually, that would also be an advantage of targeting the lonely and inexperienced more so men, because with those people you probably don't even have to put out to get any money. You know, you don't even have to spread your legs to get it. While on the other hand, if it were me, I'd be looking like, yeah, no, I'm not really doing it for me. Ah,
The
well.
guy she got was from the loneliest, most unfulfilled guy she knew.
Yeah, of course.
When it comes to the kind of guy you should avoid, Mai recommends staying away from playboys and F-boys, the kind of guys who are self-centered and only interested.
Yeah, because then you would have to put out. You think some fucking would actually give you money for doing nothing? No. They'd be like, okay, I've got lots of money. Not easy enough to look at. Spread them legs. However, if you find, of course, somebody who is a bit more inexperienced, they'd probably just be happy to have somebody to talk with, aren't they? Oh, shit.
In a physical relationship. As I mentioned earlier, you want a guy who's unfulfilled and lonely, so you should avoid guys who have a fulfilling life.
Yes, because a fulfilling life would mean that I'm not desperate to get into any sort of relationship with you. Because your very first comments are going to be like, probably not the first comment, to be fair. If she's smart, she's not going to start asking for money.
が同時旅行は行くのが好きだったりバイクが好きだったり生活が充実している人友達が多かったりとか
And you gotta avoid guys who are full of themselves. Guys who flash money around may seem like ideal targets, but
They're
they're
not.
savvy and self-centered, making them difficult to manipulate.
Yes, as I said, those are the kinds of people who have money, and they're going to be very freely spending it, but they're spending it for themselves and on themselves. Meaning that, yes, you'll have to fucking put out. This is such a typical... Basically, this is really a woman's strategy. It's like, I don't even want to do anything for it, but I still would like to get the rewards. So I'm looking for the absolute most pathetic target I can find, because I damn well know that I can get fucking away from it. And by the way, that is indeed scamming, depending on how you do it. This is not a relationship, not even a parasocial relationship. This is outright just scamming.
Now that you've selected your target, it's time to C, cultivate trust.
Of course. Of course.
知らない人とか最近知り合った人とかお金くれない
Yeah, yes, just what is that? You can't just go up to the guy, you know, rub your nice little titties on him a little bit and go like, please give me money. I mean, you can in a strip club, I guess, but do that off the street and you kind of gonna be seen as a bit of a strange person. So first you have to get into their heads. And mind you, when it comes to getting into your head, women are fucking amazing at it. I really do have a tendency to be far too good at it. Which quite a few people.
渡そうと
思わないね、普通の人は。やばいやつから声かけられたってなるね。
If
Yeah.
he doesn't trust you, why would he give you money? So you gotta make him trust you. The best way to do that is to make him feel like you're his girlfriend. That means texting him all the time, every day when you wake up.
I would fucking shoot a woman who tries that shit with me. If you text me every fucking single day, I'd be telling you once, and I'm gonna look at my phone like once a week. I'm telling you that twice. After that, I'm gonna tell you, fuck off. That fucking beeping is getting annoying. But no, the text is actually good. Obviously, it's good. Because this plays very much so in the psychological vein of, you know, basically keeping yourself on their radar. If they're constantly reminded of your existence and you show interest, nobody dislikes when another person shows interest in you. Obviously not. Yeah, I don't think this video is going to improve my opinion of the fair agenda by much.
Throughout the day, before you go to sleep, you need to make him feel like he's special to you.
おじくんと話してると落ち着くな私
うん
男の人苦手なんだけど、
うんふん
話せるんだ、
うん
これって特別なんだって思わせるような
思わせるって言ってんじゃん。やっぱ騙そうとしてるの。
That was screechy. But yeah, that's the whole point, isn't it?
The next thing you gotta do
It's
is learn
all a lie.
everything about him. Stuff like, what time does he wake up? What does he do on his days off? What was his childhood like? If you skip this step and try to extract money without making him fully trust you, he'll get suspicious and you will fail. My
Yes,
gives examples of
which
her
they
favorite
should.
messages to use on guys. Stuff like, messaging you first thing in the morning has become the highlight of my day, and it feels so nice to say goodnight to
Oh,
you.
what cringy shit.
Okay, now that you've got him to trust you, it's time for the fun part.
But yeah, this is actually a very basic psychological manipulation. You can't manipulate somebody if you don't know shit about them. It's going to be very difficult. It also means that there's no trust basis. Now, while in some situations, for example, dangerous situations, humans have a tendency to work together quite well, even without that. In a normal setting, I don't trust a stranger off the street. They know nothing about me. I know nothing about them. I don't even know if they are potentially a threat to me. And while I guess a somewhat nice-looking woman will have the advantage in that particular area, as I'm very much less likely to see her as an outright threat. Yeah, this is basically 101 when it comes to doing very personalized schemes and scams. I'm really not going in a good direction.
Cash.
But this woman is
To
fucking...
do this,
Jesus
we will
Christ.
start by A, arousing concern. Basically, you need to make him
Yeah, I see where this is going. I'm not even going to spoil this for you, because I'm pretty sure you can fucking figure out what she's going for here. It's...
think that you're in danger and that the solution is for him to give you some money. Mai refers to this part as casting a spell on him.
You're a complete sociopath.
Don't interrupt.
To start, abruptly stop texting him for 2, 3, or even 4 days.
Mhm.
He'll get worried about you and probably spam you with messages. Don't open them. Hold out.
Mhm.
Once he's ready, find a time when you think he's home and ready to have a conversation. Say something like,
I'm sorry I didn't message you, but I was too embarrassed to tell you what I've been dealing with. I'm being
Mhm.
chased by debt collectors.
don't allow
Out to the police. Literally. Don't get me started on this nonsense. I'm still surprised that people still fall for this particular sort of emotional scamming. But I guess if you're desperate enough, and you really want to get your dick with, and, you know, not go the usual way of just hiring a prostitute and get it over and done with. This is, it's going precisely where I thought it would.
elaborate. Make him ask for details and slowly trickle them out to him. Make sure you're ready with your story. Prepare all the specific details beforehand.
Example.
By the way, that is actually... Do not ever underestimate a woman's ability to be calculating. A woman will actually spend a lot of time thinking about stuff like this and going through it in their fucking heads and coming up with all the right sentences and all the right answers when questions come up for this sort of emotional manipulation. They do. They admit to it even. So, you know, it's not even a secret. Just be somewhat aware, you know.
I'm behind on rent.
He'll say,
Take out a fucking loan.
since when?
2 months ago.
Why haven't you paid?
The economy, medical...
The economy is not going to be better. Fucking go to the bank and take out the loan. There are actually people that make a job out of giving you advice in such circumstances. Such organizations exist internationally. If you find yourself in debt, there are people you can talk to. But honestly, if your end goal is that you're so fucking lonely that you really, really want a human connection, fucking go to a fucking Brussels and get yourself some human connections. Is there gonna be far more plain field than this shit? Don't people understand the whole idea that if something looks far too good to be true, it usually isn't? Some very, very schmexy lady comes up to you and suddenly shows lots of interest in you. And you look into the mirror and have to admit to yourself that you're at best average looking. Then suspect something first. Be suspicious. Just because a woman shows interest in your past, in your interests, that doesn't mean shit. As I said, women are very good at emotional manipulation. They always have been. It's their survival strategy. What the fuck do we... In all of human history, have we not gotten to this point where we understand this? Sure, there's always an inspection, but start with suspicion. Of course you should. If this were a guy that suddenly came up to you and showed massive interest in you, you'd be fucking suspicious of him. Because what the fuck does he want from me? Obviously. Because why? Because, you know, now we take sex out of the equation and suddenly it's like, that's strange. But oh well. And we're not talking about taste, we're talking about in a very general sense here. Now I'm not going to, No, it's not, it's just I've seen this happening so often to other people. Like I myself, in my very early days, fell for quite a bit of emotional manipulation, which led me to keep a relationship going that should, by all means, should have ended quite a bit earlier, for both of us, mind you. But I let myself getting manipulated into agreeing to just keep it going. Wasn't good. I've seen people literally getting fucking suicidal over fucking nonsense like this. Which is why, yes, be fucking paranoid, be fucking suspicious. You can always apologize later and go like, okay, listen, you have to understand, I'm not a fucking empty piece of paper. I have made experience. I have seen other people experience. I am quite capable of pattern recognition. So yeah, suspicions.
Bills, whatever.
What happens if you don't pay?
I could get evicted, or my parents might find out.
When the fuck don't you go to your parents? If you can't afford fucking rent, don't move out of your fucking parents' home. Go back to your parents. Swallow your fucking pride. Be done with it. That is not an excuse. If somebody went up to me and, even if somebody I know went up to me and go like, I would punch them in the face and go like, fucking hell, are you stupid? Go fucking back to your parents. Jesus, fuck me sideways.
If you've done things correctly, you now have a trusting guy who's sympathetic to your financial troubles.
Yeah, I would be sympathetic as well, but yeah, it sucks being poor, it sucks not having money, it sucks being in fucking debt, of course it does. The solution is not I'm going to pay for you. The solution is gonna be somewhere else out there, rather obviously. Stuff like this just makes me annoyed, because none of this is really new. This is just one more method added onto the giant fucking pile of methods that women have come up with to exploit the fact that they are A, not too shabby looking, and B, that we live in a time where there are quite a lot lonely men. Oh well. Jesus Christ. This whole fucking... This solution, because it's not really a solution, your debt will disappear, but you still haven't eradicated the reason for why you were in debt in the first place. Because A, you don't just suddenly find yourself with 2-month rent behind. That is not something that happens overnight. That is not the case. There are underlying reasons for that usually. It means that you work in a job where you don't earn enough money. It means that you're paying too much rent where you're living. Something like this. If we don't eradicate this original reason, this is an endless loop, isn't it? And that is precisely what she's trying to achieve, of course. Because in this endless loop, you would get endless money.
Is it time to ask him for money?
No,
Actually,
it's still too
Molly
early.
never directly asks for money.
Of course not.
Instead, the next step is to mention
She doesn't.
solutions that don't really solve the problem. These are
Yeah.
things like,
I've been talking to someone who says he'll lend me the money, but he's connected to the Yakuza.
obviously, your guy doesn't want you to get money from the Yakuza, but he's probably not ready to pay yet. So his first instinct will be to come up with all kinds of
That is the whole point. The next logical step, after you have... This is actually a discussion technique. Basically what you're doing here, or what she is doing here, is she presents a non-solution. Getting the money from the Yakuza is not a solution. It's going to make things worse. Everyone with half a brain would go to you and point out that that is not a good solution. Best case scenario, if you're halfway good looking, you might end up, being the next porn star. I mean, hey, could be worse, I guess. But then comes, of course, the fact that, now that solutions are in the room, you are going to give a solution. And usually you're going to give a decent solution if you're not completely stupid. And most people are, especially if they're not involved in a situation, quite capable of finding an objectively workable solution. I mean, look at me, I just came up with 3-4 solutions while we're talking about this. Not really that difficult. Well, for this particular problem, to be fair.
solutions that get him off the hook. Things like, have you considered speaking to a lawyer?
Yes.
Or have you asked your parents for help?
Yes.
He's like a worm trying to wriggle away. Anticipate these questions and be ready with answers. Things that make him feel bad, like,
Lawyer, I told you about this because I trust you.
Yes, and you can trust the lawyer as well. You literally pay them money. That makes them very trustworthy in my books. Yeah, if you trust me and take my advice.
I don't want to tell somebody else about this.
or
Go to my parents.
Yes.
They hate me. I ran away from home.
It doesn't matter if they hate you. It really doesn't matter at all. Besides, you don't know, you're not just having parents. You have uncles, nieces, whatever the fuck. You have usually family, grandparents. I don't fucking know. And most parents don't hate you enough to let you, get sliced up by the Yakuza for organ selling. Yeah, mostly because even in Japan, that would be pretty dishonorable, wouldn't it be, to let your daughter be, sold as a piece of meat, one way or another? Yeah, but almost would be like, fucking fine, I'll take you in, I'll give you the smallest room. You're not gonna be liked here, but at last better than sitting on the street. Jesus Christ.
Remember?
At this point, if you've done everything right and he trusts you, he will offer to pay your debt.
Yes, he will.
You have to
I've literally seen people do this. I've literally seen people falling for this sort of nonsense. And then going with a fine, this is a private thing between us. And I told the guy, do not do this. That this is stupid. If you start this, it's never going to end. She's gonna come back with more problems. And lo and behold, that is precisely what happened. I wasn't surprised. Most of the other friend circle around wasn't surprised. Guys can be so fucking desperate sometimes. And don't get me wrong, I have some sympathy for that as well. But there are limits to how sympathetic I can be.
You refuse the first time, but eventually give in and accept his money. Success.
Yes. And now you have made it seem like he forced it on you, like you had to be convinced. Of course you got it. Of course you did. Yourself, bitch. This woman looks ever more punchable with every passing minute. I have basically at the halfway point. I feel a distinct desire to punch that face. And I mean, to be fair, she's just making use of what, well, to be fair, is part of the human experience. But she does it in the worst way possible.
But it's not over yet. The next part is crucial. You need to make him feel like a hero. Mai calls this part after.
Yes, that is actually part of the male experience specifically. Men have a tendency to look at problems as challenges to overcome. This whole build things up, protect. All of these things that are kind of part of the male nature. And it's just going to feel very satisfying for him. Because now he feels good about himself. He feels like the fucking hero of the story. Yes. Of course it does. Right? That would be true for everyone. Heck, would be the same for me, honestly. I can't even deny that I would feel probably pretty good about myself. Isn't it great to be a emotional being in this particular world, isn't it?
Aftercare.
お金いただいた後はちゃんと従業員におじのおかげで助かってありがとうというふうに伝えてあげるのが働きや。
And she stresses,
Yeah.
seriously, look how many
Aftercare.
extra characters she added here for emphasis, that this aftercare is the most important step.
Yes, obviously. That is for multiple cases the most important step. A, if you do good in the aftercare, you can come back. You can keep the goose that lays the golden eggs. Obviously rather important. B, if at any point somebody would be suspicious or become suspicious without this particular good aftercare, and might ask themselves if the story you told him was actually true. And since getting money under a false pretense is a scam, and that is a crime, he might otherwise just go to the police. And, because I would swallow my pride and go over there and go like, yeah, no, I actually want to get this into front of the courts because this is actually just bad.
You need to make him feel like a white knight who saved the princess.
Yay, white knighting. That's something we should have stopped doing because that's not helping us, is it now?
Say things like,
Thank you so much. You've given me a place to sleep tonight.
give him a breakdown of exactly how you spent the money.
Was club 70%. To be fair, if a woman had the audacity to come to me with a fucking pie chart and explain to me that she needs money, this is the amount of money I need, this is how I'm gonna spend it, I'd actually be impressed. I'd actually be somewhat impressed, I'll be honest with you. That would be rather nice. just want to show that's it. And it will actually take me back. It will actually take me back.
Hint at your bright romantic future together and tell him what horrible things might have happened if it wasn't for him.
Yes, I would have been out on the street and probably raped like 23,000 times at this point. But then for you, my shining hero. Ugh.
If I hadn't met you, I might be dead right now.
Or
You saved my life. Please don't ever leave me.
you need to make sure that he feels warm and fuzzy about giving you the money.
That's actually the problem. Men do really get a nice, warm and fuzzy feeling when they think that they actually did something very good for somebody else. It lies in our nature. And that's not really something you can avoid. And technically speaking, that is actually supposed to be a good impulse, mind you. You're supposed to be feeling good in this particular regards because you've done something good. This is supposed to make you do this more often. Be more protective, be even more involved, you know? It certainly has a shadow side, doesn't
If
it?
you skip this step, who knows what could happen? But if you did it correctly, this sets you up in perfect position to end or repeat.
Yeah, of course. See? This is never gonna end. Once you've got them hooked. And mind you, at no point at this particular time was there even any need for her to outright meet with the guy, mind you. Sure, that is probably going to be helpful because nothing better than good old-fashioned eye to eye. But she didn't have to put out anything. And not even handy or anything physical, mind you. And most of this can be done through text messaging. I hate our modern age so much.
If Mai thinks the guy doesn't have any more cash left, or if she's put him in too much debt already, she'll try to let the conversation die out and move on to the next guy. But most of the time, if you wait a few weeks or months, you can loop back to the start and try to get money from him all over again.
Yeah, it's like an ATM that refills itself automatically. With you having basically unlimited amounts to take out until empty. Pretty disgusting, honestly. Pretty disgusting indeed.
Mai says most of her targets pay her more than once.
生きてるおじさん。
ほうほうほう。
LINE ってなっちゃって、おじがお休みとか送ってくるから。
今
後で電話してみあ、この人はもう2000万以上いた。
135k. Pretty damn sure he hasn't even seen the bitch naked. Man, that's really not getting any value for your money, is it now? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ indeed.
書いてます。
マジで
はい。
She even has a guy who buys her the new iPhone every year.
What?
In her
That's-
4-year career,
Jesus.
it's likely that Mai scammed over $2 million from desperate men, and she was proud of it too.
That's a lot of money. What does it say here? That's a lot of money spent as well, Jesus Christ. Text alone is pretty nice on that, honestly. Sadly, I can't read moon runes, otherwise I would probably have a bit better understanding, but that is a quite large number that I'm assuming is the total sum she has just spent. Holy shit. That's living a good life. However, is it really wise to be pretty much unemployed and then spend all day on social media telling the whole wide world that you have stacks of cash around? Do you think at some point the state will be like, taxes? You're paying? Because I would fucking ask that question.
Mai didn't hide her lifestyle at all. She even brought $60K in cash to this interview. The
Jesus.
interviewer is a massive Japanese YouTuber, and the reason it happened at all is because she's a fan of his and was spamming him for attention. He asked really good questions, and
How can you be so fucking stupid? We all know at this point, YouTube is quite a large platform. It gets quite a lot of views. If this guy is a big YouTuber over in Japan, and you get him to interview you, and your interview revolves around the whole aspect that you are literally scamming people, what do you think will fucking happen? Can you be so... This is the most stupid shit I've ever seen. This person is so unaware that what she's doing is a criminal activity that she actually thinks it's a good idea to potentially present herself and her stupid ideas to millions of views. Holy fucking shit, that's either very arrogant or just plain stupid. Now, considering that she's 23, I'm leaning towards very stupid. Very stupid indeed.
She ended up looking pretty bad.
2億円を人からもらってるわけじゃないですか。それは収入としてちゃんとやってる。
Yeah.
そうなんですね。
What do you mean what he's talking about? This is income. You have made 200 million income. The state would like to get some as well. Holy shit. Please, dear God, let this end with a massive fucking either in front of the courts for scamming or in front of the courts for tax evasion. I would prefer the tax evasion, I'll be honest with you.
確定申告的なやつだよ。
知らなかった。
お前脱税してるのそれ。
Yeah.
犯罪者なんだけどこの。
I do like the guy, I must admit. That is precisely the sort of question you should ask in this kind of scenario. Good guy, good guy. That guy, he very fucking well knew what was coming, and he prepared accordingly. Yeah, she's absolutely criminal at this point. Not just for the scams, but for fucking tax evasion as well. What does she mean? I didn't know I had to... Of course you do. Everything you earn, no matter how you got it, is fucking taxable. A very few exclusions to that particular list. Yes, you fucking are.
じゃあこれ、
お前逮捕だよもう。お前逮捕。
Yeah. Why the fuck would you think it's a good idea to give this interview in the first place? Seriously, why? You must be able to imagine somewhat that if this goes out, and apparently it went out because we are watching it right now, that someone, somewhere, maybe even one of your former victims will see this shit, recognize you, and go to the police.
もうお前捕まえるからね。
Yes, they will.
嘘つきでしょ。で、しかも嘘つきを量産させてるよ。お前とんでもない嘘つきだよ。
Yeah, I like this guy. This guy really, he doesn't hold back. He quite literally tells it just as it is. Quite nice. I must admit, I think I'm actually, I'm not just warming up to this guy. I think he's onto something. He's good. He's good.
よくインタビュー出てくれたね。
Yeah.
急に
That is acceptable. I'm actually surprised you did agree to this fucking interview. Yes, no normal person would actually be would even be able to conceive this. Like, why? Why would you do this to yourself?
Afterwards, she threatened to go to the cops if he released it, but he released it anyways. Giga chat.
Yeah, that's actually a good word for it. Giga chat. Yeah, I remember that word. That seems appropriate. He has done pretty fucking well. Why did you give the interview in the first place when you then turn around to go like, I'm going to threaten you with... Do not release. Don't give it in the first place, bitch. Jesus Christ. Woman sometimes. To be fair, she's a very... even I will admit that is not a representation of your average female. This is quite the outlier for the whole species. And believe you me, I'm still as convinced that females are a species of their own. But yeah, she's probably one of the worst examples.
Did I want to be in the public eye so badly? Perhaps she just wanted attention. But there was another reason. The guide we went through earlier, she was selling it for $300 a pop.
Of course she was. Of course she was. 300 a pop. That's amazing. No, let's...
The business was booming.
どれぐらい今まで購入者がいたの？何人ぐらい？ 2000
2,000 people. Holy shit. It's a nice bit of extra income. And selling stuff like that is most definitively considered to be a business. At which point, especially because you sold so much of it, this is not just, you know, the regular person's income tax that now comes. Now we can get you for business tax as well. Nice, isn't it? I'm pretty sure the production costs of these guys weren't fucking high.
以上、まあ、皆さん買わないでくださいね、本当。
This was the beginning of the end for
Oh,
Mai.
Jesus.
Remember when I mentioned that aftercare is the most important part? Another
I
reason for
remember.
this is because guys who feel scammed go to the cops.
Yeah. Of course they would. Especially if you're fucking stupid enough to make a fucking whole video, or well, an interview with a YouTuber. Well, chances are that shit is going to be big enough that some of your former victims will just see that, realize what happens, and then go like, I've been scammed. How about I go to the police about that? I mean, you know their name, their full name, as long as it doesn't use an alias. And even then, chances are it's gonna be fucking easy enough to find her, just going off her online presence.
Unfortunately for Mai, some of her students must have skipped that chapter, specifically 19-year-old convenience store employee Ieda Miku, who, after buying Mai's guide, scammed around $100,000 out of...
That's fucking stupid. Even the guide told you that aftercare was important. Why would you skip this particular step? This step is definitely important. So it's satisfying to see some of these idiots landing in front of a court for that, though. That does give me some satisfaction.
2 men
I
by
would not lie.
lying that she was going to be forced to appear in a certain kind of video.
Certain kind of video that involves massive throbbing corn. I mean, the implication is rather clear. I don't think I need to comment on
If
that.
they didn't help her. After they paid her, she didn't do any aftercare. In fact, you could say she did negative aftercare. To both men, she sent a message, Miku has been kidnapped.
You fucking for real. I've seen some fucking shit at nighttime, mind you. Especially, you know, when I think about the decades or so behind me, what I've seen friends do, what I've seen people go through sort of nonsense. And then shit like this, and you're just sitting there. If that happened just as it is presented here, Jesus Christ. The world is only a much place than I had imagined.
And blocked them. And when 2 men bring such an absurd story to the...
Yeah. If you go to the police with such a story, like, there was this girl, I helped her out, and then I got a message, she's kidnapped and I can't contact her. One time the police is going to be like, yeah, that sounds strange, but nah, that's not fun. 2 cases. Well, now the police is going to be starting questioning things, because that can't be a coincidence.
Nagoya police within 1 month, they start to connect the dots.
Yeah, they do.
quickly tracked down and arrested
I mean, under normal circumstances, the police is most definitely not the most active when it comes to stuff like this. But even the police can recognize a pattern. Like, strange. I could swear I've heard the same story just the other day.
Miku found the guide on her phone and then arrested Mai for aiding and abetting.
Yeah,
This put
they
Mai's
should.
face on the news, which
Nice.
made quite a few of her past victims realize they were scammed and go to the cops. Because guys were finally coming forward, they were able to arrest Mai 2 more times over the next couple months.
This is a nice happy end. I do feel like justice has been served here. Well, depends a bit on how the punishment actually looks, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful here.
One of the most interesting things they found after arresting her is that she never had any savings. She was
Yeah, we come back to that whole beginning point, didn't we?
essentially living paycheck to paycheck. Well, other people's paycheck to paycheck.
Yes, precisely.
Every month, she was spending all of the money she received. On what, you might ask? Host clubs.
How did I think about it? This is a nice irony, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, I do believe that what these host clubs do sometimes is also not that far away from scamming. So basically, she's part of the food chain, isn't she? And basically, you know, if the lonely men are the herbivores that get eaten, and she's a small little carnivore that eats them, and these guys are the next bigger carnivore that is eating her. This is rather nice. Honestly, it feels justified, doesn't it? No way.
A host club is a place where women are in the company of charming men. Hosts give them attention and entertain them with conversation and alcohol in a controlled social setting. Host clubs can be cheap if you go once in a while. The first visit is
Of course they do. The whole idea of stuff like this is the first time is gonna be cheap because they want to get you hooked. The next few times are not gonna be cheap. You look at this ad. First 60 minutes free, with drinks included. They can afford to do such advertisement because they expect that you will stay far longer than just 60 minutes and that you come back.
heavily discounted, but if you become a regular, they're really expensive. In Mai's case, she was a bit more than a regular.
これはホストクラブに使います。
How much did she bring to the interview? 60k? It's a lot of fucking money you spent. Jesus Christ. Yes, my spent is... What? Yeah, as I said, you do have to see this as part of the food chain, right? As some poor fucking sad motherfucker who cashed out his fucking insurances and stocks and to give her fucking a lot of money, and she immediately turns around, brings that money to the host club. Jesus Christ.
She fell in love
Jesus
with the host,
Christ.
specifically this guy, and spent so much
Ooh.
money at the club, the
I
staff
mean, you
started
know.
calling her Mother Teresa.
Okay, that one is good. Mother Teresa. I guess from their point of view, she's the golden goose then. Oh, I do love the irony here, though. I must admit, I wasn't expecting much so far, but yeah. All is well in the world again. Justice finds a way.
The only reason Mai
Nice.
started scamming was host clubs. Before host clubs, Mai was just a normal student with a part-time job. Host clubs made her want money, which is why she got into night work. That still didn't make enough, so she started scamming her clients. In the end, host clubs were her downfall. Even when she was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, she was living in capsule hotels.
Of course she was. She's just part of the fucking food chain. This is. I do love the irony here. But at first I was kind of, mad at her for being a bad scammer, but now I kind of feel somewhat satisfied, actually. I feel satisfied, yes. There's always a bigger fish, isn't there?
So she had more money to spend at the host club. On October 27th, Mai was in the news again, the fourth time in 2 months. But this time, it wasn't her being arrested, it was her host and his manager. They were arrested for knowingly receiving dirty money from Mai.
How did they
But how
prove
can they
that?
prove the host
Yeah.
knew the money was dirty? How about a text message found on Mai's phone from the host saying, "I am your accomplice now."
Yeah. Man aren't smart either. How did you figure that was a good idea to put into written form, leave behind as evidence? How the fuck did you come to the conclusion that that would be a good idea? You stupid fucking idiot. Jesus Christ. The world is full of stupid people. Now that is nothing new. But at least in this particular case, it amuses me greatly. Jesus Christ. Just imagine the train of thought you would have to come to the conclusion that that is a good idea to do right.
I'll be arrested.
Even the bigger fish are stupid as
Speaking
fuck.
of this host guy, everyone's talking about this fish-shaped kettle of his. Apparently, he
Oh yeah,
bought
we
it
saw
for
this in a
like
picture, didn't we?
$25 on Amazon and served Mai soft drinks in it. For this luxurious service, he charged her around $100,000.
Of course he fucking did. Nice. Nice some garbage. Was like, well, this is an antique now. Absolutely worth it. Ay. Oh, these people are so fucking...
On November 3rd, Mai appeared in court. Her appearance had changed a lot, and she was wearing glasses. She pled guilty to both aiding the scams with the guide and the scams that she did herself.
How the fuck would
The
you...
only new information we learned during the trial is that she has a husband who's Vietnamese. She hasn't
What?
herself. The only new information we learned during the trial is that she has a husband who's Vietnamese.
Fucking... Did she have a husband? How? How does this... Let me guess. The husband spends most of his time at the hostess club. I mean, come on, that has to be the Kinscher here. Jesus fuck me sideways, that is rather amazing.
She hasn't been sentenced yet, and there's another trial coming in December.
この人があったとしたら、コメント欄はどうなります？
I can tell you what I would comment. To be fair, if I watch it to the end, if I would just watch part of it, I would be like, that bitch bad. In far more colorful language. If I watch it to the end, I would probably start making quite a bit of a metaphor about the larger food chain that actually partly exists in human interaction. This is genius. I do like this guy though, I must admit. He's got it. What was the word they used for him? Gigachat. Yeah, I can admit that guy asked the right questions. Yeah, probably arrest this bitch. Maybe going a bit farther than that even.
いや、わかんない。それはリリちゃん可愛いになってるかもしれないよ。確かに。
Nice one. I was like, oh, maybe they will tell you that you're cute. She's like, nah. And she's like, yeah, no. Guy is great. I do need to look up if she's supposed to be a big YouTuber, you know, the Japan side. I'm pretty sure I can find more of her because that's if she does stuff like this more often, I might be tempted to at least learn the spoken Japanese language.
You know, I've actually worked at the host club. I made a bonus video where I tell that story and talk a bit about the channel and why the videos take so long.
Okay,
It's free on my Patreon.
That's rather interesting. Holy shit, though. That was amazingly fun, wasn't it? Far more fun than I thought it would be when it started. I did like the ending, to be fair.